I come from a small city in Michigan named Holland, which is almost entirely made up of middle class white families where racial diversity is never talked about. What could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot can go wrong, especially when going to school at Valparaiso University. Valpo, being so close to Chicago, has a lot of diversity to it. The university itself encourages diversity in many ways, something that I had never really encountered, especially coming from a school that was half the size of my high school. It seemed that my cultural communication skills were really lacking, and I mean bad. How was I going to fix something that, for years of my life, I grew up in and suddenly have it fixed by my 4 years of college? Well, intercultural praxis, or the ability to understand different cultures around you by analyzing, reflecting, understanding your daily scenarios, and then thinking about them both societally and globally, was my kickstart for figuring out how to fix what I really didn't know. My cultural communication skills were absolutely shattered freshman year at Valpo when I made my first Middle Eastern friend who lived on my floor. So I'd really never met someone from the Middle East. And that's really crazy considering there's quite a few Middle Eastern people in my town now. I went to a high school that was super white, super rich, and didn't really care about being diverse with people. So, freshman year, I made a friend from the Middle East who wore a hijab, and I'd never seen her basically out of that. And so one day she came into our freshman lounge and she had her hair down, and it was gorgeous, stunning. And I just started complimenting her on it, telling her how I loved her hair and how I didn't understand why she didn't wear it down more often and how beautiful it was. I asked her what shampoo she used. She got really shy, and she's a very polite woman and she didn't really correct me. But all of a sudden, my friends came around me and were, "What are you doing? Why are you talking about that? That's really rude. Why would you bring that up?" I had no idea what was going on. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 was the best, my cultural and communicative competency was about a negative 20. My high school really valued beauty. We had people that were models and are actually currently modeling out of New York that went to my school. So, complimenting a girl on her beauty was normal. Not complimenting someone on their beauty was almost an insult from my high school. So coming in freshman year, I was doing the only thing I knew how to do. Socially with my friends and with my Middle Eastern friend, all of us girls were on the same playing field. There was nobody below anybody else. We had created a very good sense of equality on our floor. But culturally, I was the lowest. My friends had traveled, they understood things. I just came from Holland, a middle class white city. Additionally, my town has never been and most likely never will be nice to those of different ethnicities. That's a fact I've known growing up. Therefore, I was trying to put myself into a crowd that I didn't understand. I didn't know how to act towards this person, and by throwing myself into the crowd I wanted to be in, I didn't know the expectations and the norms of that crowd. So I was overcompensating for something I didn't need to compensate for in the first place. So it was really difficult for me to understand what I had done wrong. And it wasn't until I really started thinking about it, even before I knew what intercultural praxis was, that I figured out, oh, yeah, I really messed up. And it helped me analyze things in the sense of where I needed to be. So later, when I'd have interactions with her, as she became a very good friend of mine, instead of jumping aboard the inclusive train and figuring out what I was and the whole group there and making sure that I was constantly being this super up nice person, I asked her questions to understand who she was. I asked her questions about her culture. I wanted to know her without becoming a person that I wasn't and becoming a part of a group that I had no idea who they were. So, in understanding and really thinking about this, and especially with this video right now, it helps me to understand that there's a lot of things around me that I won't know because socially I was never a part of it growing up. And my town doesn't value it. So one of my values had become not valuing different ethnicities, different cultures around me. And so using this method is really going to be helpful in understanding what I want to do and in understanding those around me that I've never had any sort of connection with. So I hope in the future that being able to really sit back and look at something that I've done wrong or look at something I don't agree with culturally will help me understand others around me, as I have only one more year of school and I really need to figure this out before going into the world that is full of different cultures that are much bigger than my little town.